Hello, everybody. My name's Brandon from expeditiousfool.com, putting mindfulness in motion. And today I want to talk about your thoughts and how we create our thoughts, and ultimately the reason why you need breathwork. Whether you decide to do one with me, a session with me, whether you decide to research on yourself, whether you decide to go find a breath coach or a pranayama teacher somewhere else, that's awesome. But if you don't know what it is, you need to do it. And I'm going to explain why. So I said I was going to talk about thoughts, so let's do that. So how do our thoughts happen? How do we create our thoughts? Before the thought, what happens? That's what we're going to start with. So we'll start with on our cells. Our cells have receptors on them, right? There's Dr. Bruce Lipton, back in the 60s, I believe it was, he started stem cell research. And in that, he determined that, I'm going to save time for the video and skip a little bit forward, but he determined that all of our cells have individual receptors that interpret the environment and act accordingly. So it's almost as if cellularly we have intelligence. That's not this. It has its own mind. It has its own thing, right? Well, this thing right here, our diaphragm, which controls our breathing, it's got a whole bunch of them on it. And whenever you get that gut feeling where it wrenches, that's that. That's those receptors on the cell interpreting the environment and trying to give you a warning, right? But normally what they do is they pick up the environment and then they adjust your breathing accordingly, right? So essentially what it's doing is it's looking at what's going on, it's looking at what's around it, which is why a lot of us have breathing problems, because a lot of us have breathing problems. So it looks at what's around it, it makes patterns with your parents, things like that. But this thing controls your lungs. Your lungs control your oxygen and CO2 output. Your oxygen and CO2 levels, that controls your nervous system. Parasympathetic, rest and relax. Sympathetic, fight, flight, right? So we have those two different things. Those are modulated and regulated by our oxygen and CO2 levels. Now, I've done all of this, and then we go, what happens? Our heartbeat. Our heartbeat has two bumps, bump, 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 bump. One bump, parasympathetic, one bump, sympathetic. So that is controlled by how we control our breath or not control our breath, right? So what the heartbeat does is the Heart Math Institute, you can look this up, but does a lot of research on this, where as the heart's beating, it's emitting an electromagnetic frequency. When everybody's talking about getting in the vibe, staying in the vibe, this is exactly what they're talking about, right? Is that emittance, boom, boom, boom. And it's based off of your parasympathetic and your sympathetic. How those are regulated and how those move in the world creates your energetic signature. Right? So, I said this was going to be about thoughts. We haven't got there yet. You're right. We haven't got there yet. So, all of this happens before you have a thought. Then what happens is it sends signals up your vagus nerve, which is the only nerve that's a two-way street to the brain and the rest of the nervous system. It sends it up there and says, we want neuropeptides for this. Dr. Joe Dispenza does a great research in this. You can look that up. It says, we want neuropeptides for this, sad, happy, mad, whatever it is. And then your brain starts thinking up things to give you that emotion. Most of the time here in America, it's cortisol, that's stress. So your body gets addicted to it. It's all that chest breathing that we do. Once that happens, and it goes down low, meaning you're getting less stressed, your body, if you don't do daily breath work to train it, keeps sending signals up to your brain that say, I want more stress. I want more neuropeptides for stress, which is cortisol. I want more neuropeptides for stress, which is cortisol. And the longer you stay in that mode, the more your body is addicted to it. And then the harder it is to get out of it, because then you'll listen to somebody like a breath work instructor who's dedicated his whole life to studying this one thing so he can find mastery and understanding to deliver it to others. You'll listen to that one person and be like, you know what? I don't think he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to manage my nervous system just fine by myself, right? and you don't do your breath work, you don't do yoga, you don't do meditation, and then your life doesn't change. And you keep resisting and you keep not trying it. It's as easy as taking a breath, but you keep not doing it because you get stuck in that stress, right? Well, maybe it's this. Maybe if I do that, I'll have this, and this happen. Maybe if I try something new, this, and this. Oh, I can't add anything else into my schedule because it's too busy. That's all cortisol talking. That is all cortisol talking, folks. Every time your brain is talking, it is a chemical talking. And that is why all of the Eastern philosophies tell you to tap into your breath to transcend the self, because you transcend that chatter. Even Western religions, we've got Christianity. When they talk about demons talking to you, it's literally your brain. That's the true high understanding. So this is the way to circumvent all of that. This is the way to really tap into yourself and become the conscious co-creator of your life. So I encourage and implore each one of you to study breath work. That is the only way we can manage our nervous system and manage our emotions. Whether you do a session with me or study on your own or find a different teacher somewhere, it doesn't matter to me. If you want to come to me, that's excellent. Send me a direct message. We'll get you scheduled as soon as possible. And I do these sessions virtually as well. So you're available all around the world. And I would be more than happy to help each and every one of you find your breath and find the way to co-create in your life. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day on purpose and stay mindful.